Hello, guys. Hello, everyone. Hi, Cliff.
Hi.
Hi, Fleur.
Hi.
Hi. Hello. How are you?
I'm good, and you, Fleur?
Not too bad.
That's good.
Thank you.
Hey,
How
Fleur.
is? Hello.
Let me also show my face.
Hello, Marie. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Let me admit everyone else that's in the waiting room. We have to do this so that we don't get bombed by porn hackers and places like that. That's been all over the news.
It will make it interesting, no?
Hey, Oops. How are you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Cliff, how are you?
I'm cool. Put your camera on. We haven't seen you in so long. I forgot what you look like.
Hold on, my connection is a bit bad.
The video.
Oh, that sounds like
For
I'm
what?
still in my pajamas excuse.
Hello.
Okay,
Cool.
so
All
we've
right.
got Flo, we've got Upland, and we've got Marjorie and Cliff. So welcome, guys, to our first live QA session. I hope we will be doing this more often, and I hope you guys will enjoy this and ask me lots of questions so that we can have an interesting QA session. So I just want to ask, have all of you gone through that machine manager training course?
Yes, in Malta. Here we did it. I did it with the group, with the Malta group.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Cool.
Anybody else? Okay, so what I think we should do is maybe I share my screen and I show the machine manager, and then you guys can let me know where we can start. Do you want me to do a little rundown of machine manager as a quick refresher, and then we can go through questions? Yeah, tell me what you guys think.
Cool. I think that's a nice place to start, actually, starting with Machine Manager.
Okay, let me share my screen. All right, let's see. We're going to share my screen. Okay, whoops. Okay, can everybody see Machine Manager?
Not yet.
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. All right, so Machine Manager is basically where we go and fill in all the additional details that we want to see on the reports for the machines. So when we bring a machine online by doing the panel RAM clear, putting the asset number and the parameters, the machine is active and ready for play. So Machine Manager is there for a few settings that we have to do so that we can catch a few meter spikes and things like that. But the rest of the information is for reporting purposes as well. So let's quickly go through some of them. So in Machine Manager, you've got your active and non-active machines. And in the machine list, you'll see that there's a machine number followed by a dash and then a number. Now, the dash and the number after that is called the build number. So every time that we do a RAM clear and we maybe change the game, or oh, I see somebody else wants to join. Whoops. let me, I think everybody is in here. Okay, so whenever we change something on the machine, whether it is the denomination or the player percentage or game change, or there's a fault on the machine and we do a RAM clear, a new build or a new iteration of the machine will be created. And that will be the different build numbers so that we can keep track of the machine's revenue and we know which game or location the machine was at. Then in the machine configs, we have the location number. We can change the denomination for reporting only. So whatever the denomination is, the game type, and I'm using for examples here. Is it a video game? Is it a roulette game? Is it a poker game? It's just so that you can do your reporting a little bit different depending on how you want to look at your machines and your stats. Then the different cabinet styles. So what the machine looks like. Is it upright? Is it a flat top? Is it a slant top and things like that? Then the machine description, you can give it any name. Normally we give it the game name. You can do your short description, anything that you would like to have your machines described as, the manufacturer and the location of the machines for your reporting. Now, some of the information that is very important that you must always remember to go and complete as soon as the machine becomes online is the games per second, as well as the max bet credits override. Now, these two settings are very important for catching meter spikes on the machine, so that we don't have mystery jackpots all of a sudden having a huge contribution and people winning it and people getting more points that they're not supposed to get. And then some variables for the machines that is important. If the machine has got a bill acceptor, you have to go and enable the bill validator setting. Okay, offline. Okay. Then if you select that it's jackpot link or multi-denomination, that is just purely cosmetic. But the voucher to voucher, for instance, that is going to change the behavior of the machine if it's going to allow you to play with money in your voucher purse or not. Then if you want to, no, voucher to voucher, sorry, let me rephrase. Voucher to voucher is when you play with your voucher money, any win will go back to the voucher purse for the value of your bet. So if you play 10 bucks from your voucher purse and you win 10 bucks, that win will go back to the voucher purse. And anything that was over your bet value will go to the cash part of your card. Then we've got another one here, disable voucher play, if we don't want to allow customers to play with their voucher money on a machine, and that we normally do on your roulette machines. Then we also have enable CD transfers. Now this has been a recent addition to Machine Manager, where in small little sites, we can give an option to the customer that they don't need the LCD screen or the keypad and the card reader. So they will just have the T-Box and the SX, and we can then do transfers from the cash desk to a specific slot machine. So this will save costs in small sites where the cashier can actually see the machines. And then when the customer cash out again, the money goes back to the cash desk for the customer to either cash out or transfer to another machine. Then we've got the setting here for play requires card. So what this means is if there's a bill validator on the machine, a customer can't walk up to the machine and insert a bill and start playing immediately. This means that you have to put a card in first, and then you can put in a bill to start playing or transfer your credits and start playing. So this is a nice feature for sites where you've got a lot of walk-in customers, that's tourists, that they just quickly want to come and play a slot machine without them having a card. So they can walk in, put money in the machine, play, they lose it, they go to the next machine, or they go out. Any questions so far?
None so far.
None so far. Okay, so
That's good. Sorry to interrupt. I can't see your screen.
That's weird. Can anybody else see my, is everybody else still seeing my screen, or should I stop the share and start again?
I can see it. Sorry about that. How are you?
No problem. Okay, should I stop the share and start it again? Let's try that. I'm going to share my screen again. Can everybody see my screen now, Cliff?
Mute.
What?
I could see it perfectly before.
Okay, and
And
can
the
you,
others?
Marjorie, can you see it?
It's perfect.
Weird.
Okay, Oplin.
Yeah.
Okay. Cliff, you'll just have to imagine.
Oh, I found it. I
Okay.
found it.
Okay, cool. Okay, so you guys must just jump in with any questions and tell me if I'm going too fast and if there's settings that I skip over that you want me to explain a little bit more. So that was the machine configs. When we move over to significant numbers, what the customers normally do is in the serial number field, they go and put the actual tag or the serial number plate that's on the slot machine. They go and enter it here. And this will also help for reporting because, as you know, machines in ACE is based on location numbers, so physically where they are on the floor, and not necessarily based on their serial number. Now, machine A could be close to the bathrooms, and then we decide, so it's machine 1, and we change it and we put it by the front entrance. Now the machine number will change. So when we do reporting, it's sometimes difficult to figure out this specific machine, when it changed possession and it changed this number, how I can do the reporting for that machine. So some customers keep the machine numbers and wherever they move it on the floor, and that so machine 1 stays machine 1 wherever it is on the floor. But sometimes that can cause a lot of confusion when you start looking, where's machine number 1? And you don't, if you didn't keep a proper record of where the machines are, you'll look through the whole floor to find machine number 1 again. Then if we go to the asset number field here, that's the asset number that we've entered into the machine or in the panel when we set up the panel to talk to the system. And then this area here for the floor equipment type, that's been there for donkey's years. And you'll see SX5000, and I don't think anybody will actually know what SX5000 is. We're currently working with the SX6000 as the communications board. And then in future, we'll have the SX7000, which will be an upgraded version of the communications board. And hopefully we'll have touchscreens and LCD touchscreens that we will have available on that. Then what you can also do in the EEPROM is the game software for the machine has got an EEPROM number. So it's just to identify the game, and you can enter that in that field. The Covertron number was mostly used for South Africa back in the day, where they wanted to verify that the software is actually the software that is supposed to be in there. It's more for regulatory purposes, and I don't think that's used anywhere else in the world. And for the MPU board, that is normally your brain box, the main board of a slot machine. And back in the day as well, they used to record this so they can see it on their reports. Any questions on this tab of significant numbers? Okay, I'll take silence
No,
as no questions.
All good.
Okay, now we go over to the stats and percentages. Okay, this is a little bit, I don't know the right word right now. It doesn't really make sense to say it's stats and percentages because there's a few other things in here as well. So if we just go to the stats side, the theoretical hold percentage of the machine, we asked the casinos to enter the values here. So, and theoretical hold percentage is not the percentage that the machine is set up as. Like for instance, the people will tell you the machine is set up as a 92% or a 94%. But what we need to put in here is what is the difference between 100% and the 92%? So what you're actually going to hold for that game. And the reason why we put the values here is so that we can do our reporting and we can show stats on the actual hold percentage, what is in here versus the theoretical and actual based on gameplay. Then we can also see something interesting here, the last gaming floor server that this slot machine connected to. And it shows us the IP address for that server. And we can also see who was the last user that actually made changes to one of the machine parameters in Machine Manager. Then if we go to revenue settings, we hardly use this. This is specifically for the very old Universal Sunrise machines where the meters are doing wonky things where they step and then they don't step, and it causes lots of headaches with reporting and points and things like that. And then you'll see the setting minus hand pay from the out meter for revenue calculation. Now, this we've never used as far as I know, but this would be for a machine where if there's a hand pay, a jackpot, where the machine does its calculations weirdly and we have to now, to get the reporting correct, we have to go and deduct that from a different meter set. So these are the tabs that
Marie, can I jump in there?
Yeah.
I think that can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So that minus hand pay, that's, you know, that's typically where a hand pay has been created that was for a malfunction, so the meter wouldn't have stepped. So because where a slot short's been created and the meter hasn't stepped.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. So I've learned something new. Okay, so those are the 4 main tabs on the Machine Manager that people will encounter, and will basically only ever show them the machine config, significant numbers, and the stats and percentages. Normally the revenue settings and rollover override will deal with it from a support perspective, because settings there can affect the reporting and the behavior of the machine. Now, any questions? Any questions so far before we go to the little buttons that's here at the bottom on the screen?
I have a question.
Yes, Evelyn?
Just going back on what Cleve said on the revenue settings, the minus hand pay.
Yes.
Does it need to be enabled for the slot shorts, or does it need to be disabled?
Honestly, I would say leave it disabled, so not selected. I haven't come across any machine where we had to go and enable that for the calculations. This is what I've seen when we do manual slot shorts and things like that. We do see it on some of the reporting that we account for that. Any slot short that is manually created automatically goes into the slot short column when we do revenue calculations. So I think this, I don't know, and I've asked the developers about this, where we would use it, and they just said, you will know when you need to use it. And so far,
Yeah.
I haven't had to use this anyway. So that's why normally I skip over this.
Accurate statement. Yeah, Marie, that's pretty accurate statement. You'll know when you need to use it. It really, for 99% of the machines, this is not an issue.
Yeah.
And I must say, I've never really, I've only known about needing this in a previous life.
Yeah.
Prior to me being involved in ACE. And so I haven't needed to use a setting like this for at least 16, 17 years.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah. So, yes, it's one of those that was 10-to-1 included from legacy from before we went over.
I think it was on when Noah ran his little casino on his boat.
Yeah, no, I think so too. Okay, any other questions?
No.
Okay. All right, so now we can go into the kind of fun things. The multi-machine editing button. Now, a lot of times the customers have complained that I've got 10 of the same machine and the same settings and everything for the machine configs to fill out. Why must I go to each machine and go and choose everything the whole time? Can't I do it in a batch? So the developers listened, and we've got the multi-machine editing form. So we can now go and choose the different machines that we want to have the same settings applied to. For instance, the denomination or the game type or the cabinet style, short descriptions. And then we can click on update. So let's do a quick demonstration. So let's change machine 102 to 107, and we change that to not 1 shilling, but let's make it a 25. So multi-machine editing, these machines, and we change it to a 25. We change the game type to poker, the cabinet style slant, type of machine is video, and it's definitely not going to be interblock anymore. And then we update. And now all of a sudden, those machines that we've selected have been updated all in a batch. So that was the multi-machine editing. I will take it that there's no questions. Oh, there's more people that want to, oh, there's a chat. Okay, no problem, Cliff. We'll catch you later. Okay, so now it's only the ladies. Hi, Denise. Hi, Sarah.
Is Denise yet?
Hello, Marie. How are you?
Good, and you?
Good,
So
thank
yes,
you.
it's only the ladies now. Yay!
Power to the women.
Yeah, boy, yes. No, I totally agree with that. Okay, so now I want to talk to you about the multi-game configuration. I don't know, I don't think that was in the course. You can maybe tell me if it was. I think Marjorie or Opalyn, you were the ones that most recently did the course.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
This functionality for the multi-game configuration. I don't know if that was in the original course that I've got on the training portal.
Shit, I don't remember.
Okay.
But
I think it's not included.
Okay. Let's quickly go over it. This is I love this functionality. Now, these days, slot machines are not just one game per slot machine. We have multiple games on a slot machine and more than one denomination. So the customers want to know which game on a machine is performing better than another so that they can tweak the games and give the customers games that is being played and that is generating a lot of revenue for the casino. So this helps them to analyze the machines and the performance and make changes so that they can optimize, obviously, their revenues. So the multi-game configuration, we have to enter manually. Now, yes, it is a tedious process. You have to go to a slot machine. You have to take your machine activity report. You will have to play a game, record which game it was, then go to the report to see the code or the game number that the machine reports for that specific game. Then once you've figured that out, you can click on add for that specific machine. And say, for instance, the game was game number 6 and it was Lucky Ladies Charm. We save that. And then that game ID 6 for machine 102 will be associated with Lucky Ladies Charm. So this is quite a tedious process, but the customers that's done this, actually they love it that they can now see how the different games are performing. And the added benefit to this, if there's 5 denominations for the specific game, the reports will show which denomination for that game was played. So they can also then tweak and see the denominations that people don't really play and then focus on more or denominations that the customers will play. Any questions on the multi-game configuration? Do you maybe want to see an example of the report that I've been talking about?
Yes,
That's
please.
actually really good, please.
Okay, so let's have a look at the reports. Okay, machine transactions, machine activity. Let's choose machine 102. I think we might have something from the 20th of March. Or, yeah, 20th of March, not April. Okay, so let's hope we've got some information. I think at this speed, we might need to have another little session tomorrow or so with the reports. Okay, so this report is not going to be very helpful right now because there's no information. But when you run this machine activity report, you'll see here that we've got a column for game number. Now, as you see the game plays come through, you'll see different game numbers coming through. So that's how you can figure out what game is associated with which game number. I think we'll have to have a different session for going in more detail with the reports. But this is essentially where they'll get the game number from that they'll then use in Machine Manager to put the game number and the description for that game. Okay, I think maybe I should turn my video off. That might help a little bit with the data that you guys need to use. Okay, now we've got two little buttons here, the add seal info and seal info report. Do you guys know what seal numbers are that they use for the machines? Okay, now in a slot machine, you've got your MPU area that is a secure logic area for the machine where the game software or the flash cards are installed in the machine. And normally they have a tag that they seal that access to that section with a number that is controlled via surveillance and security, so that you can make sure that the actual software that's in there is associated with that machine and nobody has tampered with the machine. So through the add seal button, we can go and enter in for a machine what the tag or the seal number is. And 2 users are required to authorize that adding of the seal. And normally that would be somebody maybe from the slots department and somebody from the surveillance department. Now, sometimes a casino doesn't have all those people to do dual authorizations. So in system module, there is a space where we can go and say that for instance, for machine seal numbers, we don't require 2 fingerprints to add seal numbers. And then the seal info would just generate a report of the current seal numbers that is captured for a machine. And you'll see we've got nothing. Apologies. Any questions on Machine Manager?
None so far.
None so far. Okay, let's
Hide from
quickly.
me.
Okay. All right, let's quickly go through some of the reports associated with Machine Manager. So in the reports module, you'll see we've got different sections. We've got one for machine transactions, then for machines, and then you'll also see machine analysis. Now, anything to do with the machines without doing anything about the reporting for revenues will be found under machines. So basically what we've got in the Machine Manager and things that is global for machines. For instance, the BV acceptance. So how good is the bill validators at accepting the bills? Card acceptance to see how good the cards are being accepted in the machine, so you can maybe pinpoint if there's problems with a card reader. We could also have a look at hand pays that's hanging in the system that nobody created a slot short for. But here we get to one of our Machine Manager audit settings reports, and you'll see it doesn't require a date to be selected because it will just grab what is currently configured in the system. And here we will see basically what we've talked about in Machine Manager. So the machine number, the build, the games per second, what is the max bit override, the play requires card, the protocol that's being used for the machine, did they put in the hold percentage? Ooh, okay, so we've got 10 minutes left. So I'll try and cover as many of the reports that we've got time for. So this is just a nice report that the slots guys can generate and print after they've made changes to the machines to make sure that there's not a setting that they've forgot. Then if we quickly go to the machine parameters audit, it's also a lovely little report that you can keep as a record to show the parameters that's entered at the slot machine at the ACE panel when you set up the machine. So all of those parameters are now here, showing what is the min-game denom, what is the currency symbol configured, does it have a push-pull card reader. So from this, from a supporting point of view as well, we don't have to ask anymore, please go to the machine and tell me what parameters have you configured on the machine for the ACE side. Because sometimes when there's problems with wrong values or wrong settings being selected on the parameters, it could cause different problems. So that's why this is a very lovely report that we can ask for when we do troubleshooting and support. Then the machine register is an old report. It's been there since donkey's years ago, and that gives us just a register of all the machines with the different games, the activation dates, etc. So you'll find that this report is nice to have, so we can see at the end how many machines, different manufacturers, and things like that. Then something else that is very, very useful is some of these audit reports. So we can see if there's machines that had parameters changed. Because sometimes there's one of the staff that goes and change parameters on a machine and they've changed and put the wrong settings in, and now the machine is not behaving the way it should. So now at least we can go and see who the staff member was, and we can then go and ask, okay, so why did you have to change this? You didn't have to go and change. What did you change? And things like that. So it's also just for auditing and accountability of people changing things on the system and nobody knows who it was. A few other ones that is very interesting as well is the significant events for slots. So this gets the information from the event audit trail and just puts it for us in a report, and we focus on events that could show that there's problems on the floor, or it can guide us to find problems with machines. So for instance, for this date, there was 13 instances of card balance adjusted and communications to the machines lost and restored, and machines with faulty meters and things. So this was a nice report that we added where they can see what's going on the floor, they can see the values and easily can start looking at why there's variances on the consolidation report, for instance. And right at the end of the report, we give a total breakdown per machine of how many of those events they had. So just also for ease of use for the staff. So I think we've got about 8 minutes left. Any questions so far on some of these reports?
None so far.
None so far. Okay, so let's see if I can do another one quickly. Outstanding machine sessions. Now, outstanding machine sessions is easier to understand if I explain it like that is money that is on the machine's credit meter that the customers can play with. So at this point in time, when we run it for the gaming day, this is money that's on the machine. Now, if we look at it a little bit later, maybe 5 minutes later, we ran it for today, the values will change because the customers are playing. And for accounting purposes, we need to know if a customer left money on the machine and he walked out. So this will also show us that he didn't cash out. So we can then force the cash out, or we can't force the cash out, but at least we can account for that money. So because the money is then no longer on the card, but is not part of the machine's revenues, it's just sitting there on the credit meter. Now, before I forget, there's a setting that I wanted to show you in Machine Manager. Just a quick one. Specifically for customers that leave money on the machine and they walk away. There's a setting for idle timeout that you can set that if the machine is sitting there idle after the last gameplay, let's say 5 minutes, after 5 minutes, the system will automatically generate a cash out and the money will go to the card. So this is quite useful to prevent people from just sitting there, putting a card in, play a game, and then don't play. And it will also help if customers just take their card, the money is still on the machine, and somebody else comes and play, because that has caused a lot of fights where people play with other people's money, and yes, they can fight. So it's sometimes easier, depends on the casino, if they want to just initiate auto cash out after 2 minutes of no gameplay. So yes, that's something interesting as well that I forgot to mention. So I think we are close to the end of the session. Would you mind giving me some feedback? Is this what you expected? Should we do something else, maybe approach another QA session a little bit differently? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Marie, I'm just trying to understand how the whole company and everything works. So I would rather hear the others if you don't mind for now. For me, it's completely all new, even though I've gone through it with the boys at the office in Malta. I'm normally just the office manager, but since we're in COVID-19, it's a really great time to start learning a bit more.
Yeah.
So I won't have many questions, but I'm
Yeah.
here so that I can listen and input.
Okay,
some
great.
more.
Great. Thanks, Fleur. I appreciate
Thank you.
that.
Thank you a lot.
Thank you. And I think it helps to just talk to other people that's in a different country.
No, to be fair, you know what? All your sessions, when I was going to the office in Malta, it was a way of us gathering all together for half an hour in the morning. And we always do half an hour training. We choose one of your, for example, right now, I think we're doing TMS.
Oh, great.
Since COVID-19, we're meeting up every morning. I make them all join in on Skype and we do a session.
Oh,
Online
great.
at 9:30. Yes.
That's
so hearing
brilliant.
it again helps the input even more.
Oh, great. Thanks for that, Fleur. I appreciate that.
You do teach really clearly. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Yeah, so what do you guys think? Should we do these things more often? Should we continue with this? Because I was really nervous about doing this. And I'm glad it's mostly ladies, so I don't have to feel so weird doing these online Q&A sessions.
I think it's a good idea.
So a weekly session and we publish the topic, or should we maybe vote about the topic that we want to cover? Or should I just continue choosing a topic and that's what we talk about? Denise?
Yes, I think you should do it that way, Marie.
Vote or
And
just
well
choose?
done. Your webinar was very good.
Thanks, Denise.
I think that is what you should do. You should choose a topic and then cover that topic.
Okay, great. Awesome. And I think maybe the follow-up one, we should do more on the machine or the machine analysis reports, just to give you a background on the reports and what the people look for and why they use some of those reports. What do you guys think?
Sure.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Because
Sure.
I don't really have a lot of content on the website, on the training portal, about the reports, because they've changed a lot in the last year. So I think that might be a nice one to start tackling, and through that I'll know how to approach my videos. So I want to say thank you to all of you for the time that you've taken to join in this little meeting.
Thank you.
And I'll be sure to send out invitations and look out for our next mailer.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
In the meantime, I'll hear you every morning at 9:30.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much, Marie.
Have a good
Take care, all of
afternoon.
you.
Take care,
Bye,
everyone.
be
Bye.
safe. Bye, bye.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye, bye, Marjorie.
Bye.